Women's lacrosse battled back and forth with top-seeded Northwestern, but fell short in the Big Ten tournament final. Spring football was in full swing this weekend, and several Terps made the jump to the pros. We'll break it all down and more on this edition of The Left Bench. Welcome back to The Left Bench, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Drew Owens alongside Eddy Calkins and Eddy. We've got to start the show off by talking about that thriller matchup against with Northwestern versus Maryland.
Yeah, that was an instant classic. It was a great game right here in College Park, but eventually Northwestern pulled out the win. So after wins against Rutgers and Michigan, the Terps battled the Wildcats in that Big Ten tournament championship, and as I just mentioned, it was an instant classic. Maryland strikes first here on a free position shot, and you'll never guess who it is. Corey Edmondson, the All-Big Ten unanimous selection. Up 4-2, here's Kayla Gilmore, a very special goal for the freshman who missed part of the last part of the regular season with personal reasons. And now the Terps lead by 3 at the half. But here come the Wildcats in the second half. Emerson Bolig here to tie the game. And now 15 seconds left. Eddy Foster for the win. We'll take a look at it right here. Impressive goal, top right corner. Edmondson actually has a chance to win it with 2 seconds left, but misses wide. And the Wildcats claim their 3rd straight tournament title and 5th straight win versus Maryland.
To break down Maryland women's lacrosse success so far this season and what we can expect in the postseason, we are happy to be joined by WMUC women's lacrosse beat writer Madeline Burke. Madeline, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so it was an impressive game. We just talked about it. A crazy game on Sunday, maybe the game of the year. So what was your reaction to that instant classic?
Yeah, it was a great game by both sides. They both worked really hard. Maryland got the lead in the first half. Corey Edmondson got the first goal. And they kept the lead for a majority of the game, but Northwestern just pulled the win out from them under.
Now we have Gilmore, JJ Soriano, the goalie, and Clevenger. How does a gutty game like this help a young team?
Yeah, it helps them a lot. So it showed that, well, they played them back in March and they got completely destroyed by them. So it just shows them that they have the ability to really get a win off of a really competitive team like this, and it'll help them when they go into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, let's talk about JJ real quick. She had a really impressive game. I think she tied the tournament record in a Big Ten tournament for saves. It was by far her best game as a Terp. What did you see from her that was working well for her?
Yeah, she was a brick wall the whole entire game. She got a career-high 18 saves. And for not playing last season, this is basically her first season getting out there. She's just had an amazing game. Amazing season, everything.
Yeah, part of that may have been the crowd. I mean, we know the Big Ten tournament was held here in College Park. Just what was that atmosphere like at the field hockey and lacrosse complex?
Yeah, I believe they recorded 1,403 people going to the game.
Wow.
There were fans from both sides. There was definitely a lot of purple and a lot of red. The men's lacrosse team was there too. They were cheering them on. Both sidelines were giving a lot of action. Definitely a lot of people there because they knew it would be a good game. Yeah, a lot of people had fun.
Now, the postseason is ahead of Maryland. They're going to get their bid on Sunday for the NCAA tournament. What can Terps fans expect in the tournament this year?
I honestly think that the Terps can go far. You know, the first game they had against Syracuse, it was a little slow for them, but I think that we're seeing a whole new team now, and I think when we match up with these top-tier teams again, we can definitely beat them and go farther.
Yeah, well, exciting times in College Park, and now they'll take that on the road for the NCAA tournament. They may host, we'll have to see. But thanks so much for joining us, Madeline. It was great, great insight. It'll be interesting to see how far the Terps go. Well, as the lacrosse season we just said is winding down, so is spring football. And Maryland football played its annual red and white spring game this Saturday, hoping to give Terp fans a preview of the fall.
After multiple players transferring and some heading to the NFL, the Terps may have some work to do with some new faces. I take a look at what the Terps' future could look like offensively in the fall. Maryland football is in search for a new identity. After multiple players entered the transfer portal and some declaring for the draft, that led both offense and defense to completely rebuild. With former quarterback Billy Edwards Jr. transferring to Wisconsin in the offseason, that opened up a new spot for a new QB in the fall. Christian Martin got the start for the white team and made an impact early on. Martin threw 2 TDs early in the first quarter. He ended the day with 269 yards and 4 TDs, making him the red-white game MVP.
The guys around me just doing their job, and it allows me as a quarterback to settle in, the offensive line doing their part, the wide receivers doing their part, being in the right spot, catching the ball, and that just makes my job easy.
4-star QB Malik Washington also performed on the field well, tallying 2 TDs and passing for 169 yards. With 2 QBs competing for the starting spot, the question remains on what Locks will do before the fall.
I thought they all did some things this spring, whether it's Justin Martin and his acclimation to our system. Malik is a true freshman coming in early and being able to grasp it quickly, and then to see Christian Martin today, the guys who've been in the system the longest, to see him be able to operate things at a pretty decent level. So love the way that all of those guys have progressed this spring.
For Terrapin Sports Central, I'm Drew Owens.
Well, great piece, Drew. It was really interesting seeing this Saturday. Ty Felton, the former Maryland wide receiver, got drafted. TSC's Andrew Reza will have that later in the show. But some wide receivers stepped up, and it helped that they had some good QBs to throw to them.
Yeah, the QB battle between Christian Martin and Malik Washington will be interesting to see in the fall, and to see who gets the starting position and who Coach Loxley is going to choose ultimately.
Yeah, there's actually probably 3 options. We saw both Martins and
Yes.
Malik, so it'll be really interesting. Nice piece, Drew. But let's take a look at the defensive side now. A lot has changed. A lot more have been drafted. So TSC's John Yansevich has more.
The 2025 Maryland defense is a wholesale change from last year. Players like Ruben Hippolyte, Jordan Phillips, and Dante Trader drafted today. Others like Caleb Wheatland transferred out. This spring game was a showcase for a bunch of new players.
The first 2 possessions of the game were tough for the red team defense, as the white team offense, led by Christian Martin, had 2 touchdown drives of 70 yards. The white team defense, however, had more success, led by senior Jalen Husky with 5 tackles and a TFL.
I think just communicating, relaying calls, that type of stuff. But I think it'll be ironed out by the time we get to there.
Husky is one of the few returning stars from last year's defense and is in the leadership role this year.
And I think you're really starting to see him very comfortable at playing in that deep part of the field. A lot like what Glenn Miller was able to do as a transition. He's a guy that has corner skill set while playing in the deep part of the field.
Standout from the red team defense was redshirt freshman Eddy Holmes, who had 3 sacks. But there was plenty of times where both red and white defenses were beaten out by great plays from both offenses. Overall, there's some great flashes, but also some things to work on for a defense that looks to replace a lot from last year.
Now that spring ball is at a close, these next few months will give the new-look defense time to communicate, gel, and practice. From CQ Stadium, for Terrapin Sports Central, I'm Jonah Yansevich.
Great piece, Jonah. And yeah, Eddie, just like the offense, I'm curious to see what the defense is going to do in the fall when it's time for the season to start.
Yeah, depth was a huge issue last year for the defensive line. So a lot of pieces there, a lot of moving parts. So hopefully Coach Locks and the staff can see. They got both coordinators, two new coordinators, but we'll see how the staff puts together that defense and offensive line.
Yeah. Now, staying on football, when we come back, we'll see how some Terps made their NFL dreams come true.
Plus, we'll see how baseball and softball fared this weekend. Stick around. Welcome back to the left bench. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Eddy Calkins, right alongside Drew Owens, and we just talked about it before the break, but Maryland football had a special day on Saturday with the spring game. Also, our cameraman, Joe Wagner, had his birthday on Saturday,
Yes, happy
too.
birthday, Joe.
I want to give him a shout-out, but let's go back to Maryland football. It was just an all-around great game, and actually some players got drafted during that game.
Yeah, Eddie, I'm interested to see on what's going to happen in the fall, like we talked about previous minutes ago. But did you know not only one, but 2 Terps got drafted during the spring game?
Wow,
Yeah.
that is impressive. And I did hear something like that. But good news, Andrew Breza is here to look at the Terps that were drafted to the league this year. Andrew, I understand that number is too big to count on one hand. It was more than 5. Is that correct?
You got that right, Eddie. The NFL draft ran from this past Thursday to Saturday, and it was a very successful weekend for the Terps. Maryland football had 6 players drafted, the most in program history since 1986, and tied for 11th most out of any program in the country. The first Terp to come off the board was wide receiver Ty Felton. Felton was selected with the 102nd overall pick, the last pick in the 3rd round, by the Minnesota Vikings. In the 2024 regular season, Felton finished with the 2nd most receptions and 5th most receiving yards in the country. And if we know anything about another Maryland wide receiver drafted in Minnesota, his career turned out pretty well. Felton wasn't the only receiver to get drafted. His running mate, Caden Prather, was selected by the Buffalo Bills in the 7th round. Prather piled up 1,290 yards and 9 touchdowns over 2 seasons in College Park. His selection marked the first time 2 Maryland receivers were selected in the same draft since 1988. Although Felton and Prather were the only 2 offensive players to get drafted, the Terps had a slew of defenders hear their names called. The first was linebacker Ruben Hippolyte II. Hippolyte was selected in the 4th round by the Chicago Bears. A veteran of the program, Hippolyte appeared in 51 games over the past 5 seasons in 2024. He recorded a team-leading 66 tackles, a career high. Another defensive Terp taken was defensive tackle Tommy Akingbisote. Akingbisote was selected by the Dallas Cowboys in the 7th round. As a starter for the Terps over the past 2 seasons, he accumulated 60 tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. However, perhaps the most exciting storyline for the Terps was that of defensive tackle Jordan Phillips and safety Dante Trader Jr. Phillips and Trader were selected just 12 picks apart in the 5th round, both by the Miami Dolphins. Phillips transferred from Tennessee to Maryland prior to the 2023 season. Across 2 seasons, he racked up 57 tackles and was a force in the run game. Trader was a 3-year starter on the back end. Over that time, he compiled 174 tackles, 15 pass defenses, and 5 interceptions. He becomes the final member of the Terps' 2022 starting secondary to make the jump to the NFL. Guys, I've been on the opposing side of a pass rush of Jordan Phillips before. Let me tell you just how scary it is. My life flashed before my eyes. He's going to be a really good addition down in Miami, his hometown, actually. In addition to their 6 draft picks, the Terps also had 2 players sign as undrafted free agents. Center Josh Kaltenberger signed with the Los Angeles Chargers, and safety Glendon Miller signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. Guys, 2025 marks another successful draft for the Terps, who have now had players drafted for 8 consecutive years.
Yeah, Andrew, a lot of Terps drafted into the NFL. I'm a Saints fan. The Saints didn't even pick up anybody from Maryland. We needed a cornerback. We could have had Glendon Miller. I mean, we needed a cornerback after we got rid of Marshawn Lattimore. I know TSC's Nate Schwartz is very happy about that one, him going to the Commanders, but curious to see how these Terps are going to perform in the pros.
Yeah, if you want the full rant from Drew as her TikToks up, you can do that. Those Terps are going to be making bank. They're going to make bank in the league, and they're not the only ones here in College Park that'll be making bank soon. That'll be Buzz Williams, the new men's basketball coach, will be making a lot of money. $500,000 is his base salary, but it can go all the way up to $5 million a year, Drew.
That's right. Maryland men's basketball has officially announced the 4 members of Buzz Williams' coaching staff. Associate head coach Devin Johnson, assistant coaches Lyle Wolf, Stephen Rockefeller, and Wabiza B.I. will all join Williams on staff. All 4 coaches followed Williams from Texas A&M, tenured group coming to College Park.
Now over to the Diamond, where Maryland baseball was looking for its first series win of the season versus Nebraska. The Cornhuskers got the game going with a bang. Gabe Swanson hits a grand slam in the 1st inning after pitcher Andrew Johnson walks the first 3 batters. The Terps show life in the 5th as Chris Hakopian belts a grand slam of his own. Hollis Porter scores on an Aiden Hill RBI single, cutting Nebraska's lead to 6. Ultimately not enough. The Cornhuskers respond with a 5-run inning, pushing their lead back up to 11. Nebraska's Caden Brumbaugh starts the 6th with a homer as the Cornhuskers mercy roll the Terps 21-5, winning the series. Here's Matt Swope post-game.
Yeah, I mean, you prepare the same every day. I mean, the energy is good. It's, like I said several times this season, it's not it's not a level of effort or energy or what we're bringing to the table or coaching. But at some point, I mean, we haven't won a series all year. You just have to do it. So.
Maryland softball faced off against Penn State for the last game in its weekend series. After a close Game 2, the Terps could not keep up with the Eddy Lions in Game 3. Penn State started off and had a 7-run inning to start the game. You can see that one go over the fence. Maryland then eventually fired back, scoring 4 in the bottom of the frame. RBIs from Julia Shear and Sydney Lewis helped the Terps climb back from their deficit within the innings, but it was not enough, as they fell to the Nittany Lions 12-8.
Yeah, it's a packed house at the Maryland Softball Stadium, just like the Plex. So a lot of fans out in College Park. Spring Game 2, Maryland Day.
Yeah.
A lot of fans out there.
Big weekend.
Well, still ahead on the left bench, we'll try to guess fun facts about our senior producers and reporters.
And as always, we'll hand out our weekly awards and name the best plays from the past week. Stay with us. Welcome back to the left bench. I'm Drew Owens, that's Eddy Calkins, and Eddy, we have got to play our final game of the year.
I know, it's so sad, but the semester winding down, I think
Yeah.
it's only fitting that us two juniors play a game to honor our seniors, and let's get into it. So Drew, second to last show of the year, let's have some fun. Guess our senior counterparts. So
Yeah.
from my understanding, I don't know for sure, but from my understanding, we have 4 seniors on the left bench staff. They could be anybody, writers, anybody, and we'll be trying to guess who they are based on these fun facts. So
Let's get
into
started
it.
and guess
Yes,
the
that
first
senior.
person.
All right, number 1.
All right. Mom works in sports, broke arm 6 times, active skathlete?
TSC, there's a T
Oh,
there, I
TSC
think. Yeah, yeah.
athlete.
Okay.
My bad.
Well, okay, I think this is the person too, right? So there's some
Yeah.
hairs here.
I see a
Which I
hair.
think could be a clue.
Yeah, I think we had 2 girls, lovely girls, Alexa Wooten and Laura
We
Shaughnessy.
do. Okay, but one's only an athlete,
One
right?
is only an athlete, and she plays club lacrosse.
I think so. Yeah,
Yes,
I think
she
we kind
does,
of know
and
who
I
it
think
is.
her mom
She's
does
right here
work
in the
in
studio
sport.
over there in the corner.
Yeah,
laughing.
I'm gonna
this
go
is
with
rather-
Alexa
Alexa.
Wooten.
Alexa
This is
Wooten,
Alexa
yeah.
Wooten. Let's see it.
Let's see here. It
It
is. Nice. All right,
Yes,
1 for 1.
for
Good
one.
job.
We're
1 for
always
1.
we're good at these games, so it's gonna be
I know,
hard to stump
I know.
us.
All right, let's go to number 2 here. Fun fact number 2, or senior number 2.
Yeah. All right. 1 state title. First gamer, softball. Dad went to Maryland. Okay.
This is interesting. This is interesting. Okay, well, let's start with the picture again, because that really helped last time, I
Yeah.
think. The picture really helped. So, I don't know. Okay, so there's a little bit of hairs here. Dad went to Maryland, which means their family's probably a big Maryland fan.
And maybe they're probably from
Yeah.
Maryland, but
Okay.
there's
Good to know,
probably
good to know.
I think there's only one person.
Who won a state title? Played football? I think I know who that is.
I think we know who that is too.
I think it's our good
think
friend
it's our-
Nathan Schwartz.
Yeah, shouted him out earlier.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
see it.
take a look here. I think we're going to lock in Nathan
We're
Schwartz.
gonna go Nathan Schwartz.
It is
It
Nathan
is.
Schwartz. Oh my goodness. Well, he won a state title. He was also at the draft this weekend.
Yeah, so-
Man's just having a great time as a senior, living it up.
Indeed, he's living the life right
Absolutely.
now.
All right, 2 for 2.
2 for 2. All right.
Let's go to number 3.
Who's
here.
next?
Number 3. Okay.
Briefly was a
Child
actor.
Oh, they're going to get harder now. Okay, okay. First gamer was volleyball.
Has
And has ties to a Final Four coach. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's start with the silhouette here. It's not really helpful, but okay, well, child actor really stumps me.
That really
First
stumps me
gamer is
too.
almost
Volley.
pointless because I've watched so many gamers that I can't tell you whose first is, where it is, what sport. So, Final Four coach too is hard.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Final Four. Let's think. We have other, like we have Ricky, we have Alex.
We do, yes.
have,
Brandon Schwartzberg.
Brandon
Laura's right
Schwartzberg,
here too.
yeah.
Jonas, but
Jonas.
that would imply this
I
person's
don't think
tall.
it's Jonas.
Yeah.
It doesn't look.
Yeah.
From the photo, it doesn't look like Jonas.
Okay.
You know what?
Well, you know what? I am going to lock in Brandon Schwartzberg.
I'm gonna lock in Brandon too.
Because I think he did do a gamer his
Yeah.
freshman year and then went over to the writing side.
Yeah, I
Did
mean,
a
he
gamer
did a
this
field
year
hockey
too.
one
He did,
this
he
year,
did, he
so,
did. And I think Brandon would be a good child.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
child
Brandon
actor.
too.
We're gonna lock in
Let's-
Brandon
let's-
together.
let's
okay,
look.
let's lock in Brandon. Oh my
Oh,
goodness, it's Alex
Alex.
Gary. Oh my goodness, Alex,
Alex.
I'd be interested to know what
Yeah.
you acted for, and I want
Yeah,
to see that
I
clip.
want to see it too.
Okay, wow,
All right.
and what Final Four coach too. All right.
Did not, yeah,
So-
did not know this. I wonder which Final Four
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah, 2 for 3, 2 for 3. All right, so that one was harder, but let's go to the fourth one here.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be even harder, but let's see here. Okay. So their sister's a
is
collegiate
collegiate
athlete. First gamer was tennis and a Tottenham.
Oh, I think I know
come
who
on.
it is.
He's sitting there in the corner.
He's
He was
sitting
just
right
in
the
London.
kill- And he was just in London.
But hey, they might trick us, so we need to go through all the facts here. So that the silhouette that would match Matt. That would
Yeah.
match Matthew Noose.
I'm still sticking with Matt. I don't even
yeah,
think I
his
need to
sister's
see
a
any of
collegiate athlete,
the rest
tennis,
of
yeah.
this.
Let's go with
I don't
Matt
think I
Noose.
need to
Let's
see the
lock
rest
it
of
in.
this.
He's just in London. Let's see here. Oh, they're keeping us on our toes here. Maybe we're wrong. I don't think so.
I don't think so. We're gonna still go Matt.
Yeah, he's sitting in this corner. I can't see what he's doing. There he is. He's staring at us like he doesn't know what's going on. So there it is. Matthew
Yeah,
Noose.
Matthew Noose.
Fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
3 for 4.
3 for 4.
That was
You know,
good.
it wasn't too bad. It wasn't
No,
too hard.
I think Alex Gary stumped us a lot.
I'm
We
yeah.
need to pull up that clip of him acting.
I would love to see.
Let's put it in the
what-
show
yes,
next week, his
next
last
week,
show.
Since his last show, almost everyone's last show.
Absolutely. Well, you know who's not a senior? Dirty Terps utility player Hollis Porter. And that's why he is our Terp of the Week this week. Porter hit lights out from the plate this weekend versus Nebraska. The redshirt sophomore tallied 7 hits and 4 RBIs, including 2 home runs. But more importantly, now he sits tied for 3rd in the Big Ten in home runs, along with his teammate Alex Calarco. Congrats to Porter on being named this week's Pro Terp.
Our Pro Terp just advanced to the second round of the NBA playoffs in his 4th season with the team. It's Aaron Wiggins. The Oklahoma City Thunder became the first team to advance to the second round of the NBA playoffs after sweeping the Memphis Grizzlies. Within the series against the Grizzlies, Wiggins averaged 9.5 points per game, even scoring 21 points in Game 1. Congrats to Aaron on being named our Pro Terp.
All right, Drew, for the last time this year, let's count down our top 5 plays of the year.
All right, I'll get us started. Krista Hakopian, grand slam. As you can see there, the Terps had a hard weekend against Nebraska, but he definitely shined throughout this weekend. You can see that thing go bam, blasting past the fence.
Yeah, and here's JJ Soriano with a save. We mentioned it earlier. She tied the record for the Big Ten tournament. Another crucial save here off of her stick.
And number 3, we have Caitlin Cornwell catch to end the inning. Look at that diving sleep on the field. Oh my God. I don't think I could do that.
Well, we have play recreations coming up, so maybe we'll see.
Yeah,
but
we'll see.
Here's Corey Edmondson to tie the game. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for the Terps, but look at the Terps and everybody around them. The crowd was into it at the Plex. Corey Edmondson, like she's done all year, scoring between 2 defenders, tying the game top left.
And number 1, we got to go back to women's lacrosse. Emma Abazia twist goal. Look at that. She'll get the ball, turn her body, and go bam right into the net. This women's lacrosse team has been good all season after obviously a rocky start against Syracuse. But I'm curious to see after Sunday's game, what's going to happen in the postseason.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words what the Plex looked like this weekend. I mean, that championship game, there was just so many fans there. It was an electric atmosphere.
Yeah.
All eyes of the lacrosse world were on College Park.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, that will do it for our last show of the semester, but be sure to stay on the lookout for a special In Focus episode later this week.
And next week, Ricky Podgorski and Alex Gary will anchor their last final show of the school year. Be sure to keep up with us on X, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
We'll see you next time.